Welcome to Theory of Music, Grade 1, Lesson 3 with Franz Devantier. In this lesson, we will be looking at the staff and the G-Clef. The staff consists of a series of 5 parallel lines running horizontally across the page. The notes are placed on the lines or in the spaces between the lines on the staff. You can always count or reckon the lines and spaces from the lowest to the highest. As you move up, the notes get higher. As you move down, the notes get lower. And there is an illustration of the notes on the lines of the staff. The notes on the spaces of the staff. Although the notes are on the lines and spaces of the staff, you can't actually tell what pitch they are or what note name they represent. We need to put a clef at the beginning of the staff so that we know what the notes represent. The word clef comes from the Latin word clavis or the French word clef. Both of these words mean a key. The clef is therefore the key to understanding which notes are represented by the notes on the lines and spaces of the staff. Let me start off by saying that there are many clefs or keys that can be used. However, there are 2 clefs that are in common use. We will start off with these 2 clefs and add the others later on. The treble clef or G-Clef, I'm sure you recognize that sign. The bass clef or the F clef. The term treble is derived from the Latin word triplum. This word was used in the 13th century style of vocal music called a motet, in which the third and highest voice range was to be used. Therefore, treble in music is used to refer to the high notes and not to its dictionary meaning of triple. The treble clef was originally a capital G that was placed at the beginning of the staff to indicate that the second line from the bottom was the G note. The treble or G-Clef therefore sets the second line from the bottom as a G. So if you count from the bottom, 1, 2, and that line is a G. The modern treble clef is written in such a way so as to encircle the second line from the bottom. Notice how the round curl goes around the second line from the bottom. You draw this clef by starting with the circle part around the second line from the bottom. Take the curved line up to the top and come straight down right through the middle of the circle around the G to end with a curl at the bottom again. You may want to practice writing the treble clef on some paper, some manuscript paper. Since guitar music is written in the treble clef, do we really need to learn the bass clef as well? The answer is yes, of course we do. Firstly, the bass guitar is commonly but not always written in the bass clef. When we study harmony, we are going to need the bass and the treble clef. Also, we are aiming at eventually being able to compose music for the guitar and other instruments, for them to play in ensemble with the guitar. Below is an illustration of a symphony orchestra. It's a guitar solo with the backing of a symphony orchestra. To do these types of magical things, we will just need to have a broader knowledge of music theory. We are not going to take any shortcuts, but are going to emphasize what is specific to the guitar and also explore some theoretical concepts that are not strictly speaking essential for the core of theory of music. But these theoretical concepts will be essential for us when we delve into composition for the guitar. Let us define the notes on the lines and spaces of the treble or G-Clef. The notes on the lines are from the bottom to the top, E, G, B, D, F. To memorize these notes, and yes, you will have to memorize them so that you don't have to work them out with every note that you are going to work with. Use the phrase, "Every good boy does fine," or you can create your own pattern of words. The notes in the spaces between the lines are from bottom to top. Remember, always from the bottom to the top. F, A, C, E. These notes are easy to memorize because they spell the word face, starting at the bottom and moving towards the top. Always remember that. Notice how the lowest line is an E and the highest space is an E. The E on the first line is an octave below the E on the fourth space. This is a little piece of information that can help you to remember the names of the notes on the lines and spaces. Also notice that the lowest space is an F and the highest line is an F, also one octave apart. All the notes on the staff in the treble clef that we have spoken about are E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F. In other words, we're talking about one octave and one note, E to E plus the F, one octave plus one note. If you were to play E through to E or F up to F, you would be playing a scale. Now these two scales will be neither a major scale nor a minor scale, but they would be a modal scale. We'll study the modal scales a little bit later on. You may be asking yourself, how are we going to fit all 7.5 octaves of the piano keyboard onto the musical staff, or the 3.5 octaves of the guitar onto the musical staff, when we have written all the lines and spaces of a staff, we've filled it with notes, and we have only defined one octave and one note? I will be getting to that in future lessons. Musicians through the ages have come up with brilliant ways to overcome this limitation. Their solutions are both fascinating and ingenious. And besides that, they work incredibly well. Thank you for joining me for Grade 1, Lesson 3 of Theory of Music. In this lesson, we have covered the staff and the treble clef or G-Clef. Remember, it's called the G-Clef because it says the second line from the bottom is a G, therefore it's the G-Clef. Now, these lessons were presented in the context of the guitar, as well as in the traditional keyboard context. In Lesson 4, we will explore the bass clef or the F clef and its notes. See you in Lesson 4.